What is poppin' YouTube? Back again with another video. Today we are providing 5 big brain trades that you should be making today before week 1, before Sunday happens of the fantasy football season. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps me out so much. And let's go. My first player you should be targeting is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, I know he already played, so most likely he is already locked on somebody's roster. But this is the perfect time on this Saturday to go see what an offer is going to look like to go get some Jahmyr Gibbs. So in the first game against the Kansas City Chiefs, Jahmyr Gibbs had 7 carries for 42 yards. He had that long 18-yard run where he was averaging 6 yards per carry. But in the receiving game, he only had 2 receptions and 2 targets for 18 yards. Now, while you might say, Caleb, he only got 7 fantasy points for me in week 1, that is exactly why we're targeting him, because whoever has him probably drafted him, Jahmyr Gibbs, in the 3rd round, if not early 4th. It was probably the 3rd round, might have been the 2nd round, and they might be panicking, like it is time to sell. And so if I had someone like Ramondre Stevenson, if I had someone like a Breece Hall, any of these running backs that went after Jahmyr Gibbs in my rankings, that would be who I'm targeting, because they might think to themselves, well, that guy's going to get more volume. But yet, if we saw the upside, Jahmyr Gibbs was a slip away from getting a touchdown in his first game, and he looked electric. And even after the game, Dan Campbell said that they are going to be looking to get Jahmyr Gibbs. This was just almost like wetting the beak. They are going to be getting him more involved on a week-by-week basis, because if any of us were seeing, as much as David Montgomery scored the touchdown and looked okay, Jahmyr Gibbs is the most electric running back in that backfield, so they need to be getting him a lot more touches. So go see what it's going to take to trade Jahmyr Gibbs, because let's be honest, if you get that deal done, it's going to reflect on your week 2, but that's the deal that I'm trying to get done this week, because that's going to help us further down the season. My second player that I'm trying to target to try to win some fantasy football leagues and try to trade for is going to be Breece Hall. Now, Breece Hall, the reports are that he's going to be getting somewhere around 8 to 10 touches in this first game. Now, that's not great. I do think Breece Hall, when you're talking these running backs, drafting Breece Hall around Ramondre Stevenson, you were drafting Breece Hall in the late 3rd, 4th, to even sometimes in the back end of the 4th round. And when you're looking at these running backs that have this upside that Breece Hall does, there's not a lot of them that do. And so I'm definitely trying to go send out some offers for Breece Hall. If I can offer any of these wide receivers later rounds, if I can offer a DJ Moore, if I can offer a Drake London, anything like that to the Breece Hall owner, I think that is definitely available. And so I would go see what it would take today on the Saturday, but also understand that Breece Hall is definitely going to be a target for me next week after this Sunday game. So even if you can't get it done, wait, because Breece Hall for me is not going to perform that well this Sunday, enough to probably scare whatever owner does have them into at least hearing out your offer. So I would be looking at Breece Hall as my second player that I'm looking to go trade for. My third player I'm looking to go trade for, and this is another interesting one, is going to be Jonathan Taylor. This is the perfect buy low opportunity. There's always a buy low opportunity, but in your drafts, Jonathan Taylor went in the 7th or 8th round. Cool. But the thing that I like to do at this point is when there's a 10th round, 11th round, 12th round flyer that pops off this week and looks super exciting and explosive. We're talking running back, we're talking wide receiver. Go see if you can offer that player for Jonathan Taylor in this coming week, or even right now. Go see what it might take for you to go get Jonathan Taylor. I understand that getting Jonathan Taylor right now, when he's out for the first 4 weeks, feels wrong. It feels like he might hold out the whole season, and that's totally true. But the good news is you're buying so low on Jonathan Taylor that when he does come back, and if he provides any type of, the moment Jonathan Taylor steps on the field for the Colts, he is instantly an RB1 on a points per game basis. And that is enough for me to go try to trade for him, especially if you went heavy wide receiver. You need some running back upside. Those are the type of shots that you take that could either make or break your fantasy football team, but we take them because we're trying to make it. And you don't make shots without taking shots, ladies and gentlemen. It's the same way in the dating game. You don't make shots without taking shots. So that is why I'm targeting Jonathan Taylor. My 4th player I'm looking to trade for right now is going to be JSN. Now he's looking like the wide receiver 3 for the Seattle Seahawks. But even if he is the wide receiver 3, he's dealing with this hand injury. He might not perform great week 1. Just going to be honest with you. He might not perform great week 1. But he was one of the most talented wide receivers I've ever seen come through Ohio State University as an Ohio State fan. And we were comparing JSN to Ja'Marr Chase just a few years ago. And the issue then became after that Rose Bowl game was he got hurt, pulled that hammy, and he was out all last season. Made him fall to pick 20. But I honestly think there's arguments to be made that JSN was better than Chris Olave, is better than Garrett Wilson. And if that is the actual case, and that is what I believe, then I believe he's going to have every shot to have the same type of rookie season production that they had. And maybe even better, because Geno Smith is a better quarterback than what Andy Dalton and or Zach Wilson was last season for Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. So go see what it's going to take to go get JSN. He's a 7th round value in your redraft leagues, is where he was drafted. And especially after week 1, might be a great trade target. So maybe propose an offer on Saturday. If it doesn't go through, all of a sudden Monday comes around, boom, we're proposing another offer. JSN is another guy that I'm targeting pretty heavily everywhere. And moving on to my 5th trade target that I think is a really great value right now is going to be Tank Bigsby. Now, Tank Bigsby is probably on the back end of a roster somewhere where someone drafted him super late, or he was an absolute depth piece. But as much as we love some Travis Etienne, if you have Travis Etienne, you're starting him each and every week. Tank Bigsby, I think, is going to be a lot more valuable than people saw. Like, even if Tank Bigsby has 6-7 carries a game with a few receptions, I think that is enough for him to hold some type of flex appeal week in and week out. But the real juicy part is if Tank Bigsby ever has to take over 60% of the touches in that Jacksonville Jaguars offense, all of a sudden we are pumped about getting Tank Bigsby that late. And so, of course, you could say that about each and every running back handcuff or second string running back. But I think Tank Bigsby in this Jacksonville Jaguars offense that is super improved, that is going to be super elite this season, I think Tank Bigsby is a guy that I would be looking to try to trade for on the cheap. My sixth and final one that I'll throw out to you right now, go see what the Cooper Kupp owner is asking for. If you drafted super early in the offseason and Cooper Kupp went in the first round, I mean, it's going to be brutal for whoever that is. But if Cooper Kupp was drafted, right before, where we're talking Cooper Kupp getting drafted in that 3rd to 6th round range, I would be offering up something in the 8th round, kind of past like a Mike Evans type. That's what I would offer for Cooper Kupp. And as much as saying that about Mike Evans, the perennial top 1,000-yard, 12 touchdown wide receiver each and every year, I think with Cooper Kupp, we've seen when he's on the field, wide receiver 1 in points per game. I know we deal with this hamstring issue. We're worried about how serious it is. But if they put him on IR, which it sounds like he's going to go on IR 4 weeks, we can wait for 4 weeks. We can let him recover, especially if you're trading that late round of value. We can find something to hold us over on the waiver wire each and every week. But go see what it's going to take to get Cooper Kupp. These are the small advantages that you win because you're not worried of injury. I'm usually scared of injury, but with Cooper Kupp, knowing that he's going to have time to recover, he's not going to be forced back in. Cooper Kupp's going to be in the same range as Jonathan Taylor, and that is something that I like, because if you can get Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp on your roster, and let's say you trade some of your bench pieces to get them, and you can just wait those guys out, like that is going to be super valuable to you when we get to week 8, when we get to week 10, when both those guys are playing for you in your lineups, providing that extra depth, but also really great fantasy point production. Like I said, not to say that Cooper Kupp and Jonathan Taylor aren't risky, because they are risky. When we're here, we go big or we go home, because let's be honest, if we're not in first, we're going to be last. And so we are going for first place here on the channel. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps me out so much, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.